July is going to be a very unique uh, intersection of a lot of different things. So here's my disclaimer. I am not an astrologer, so I will not be giving you an astrology report. I am an energy practitioner, but I'm not somebody I don't do predictions. So that's not really helpful for me anyway. What I find is that all we can do is talk about what is emergent in this now moment. And tomorrow, honestly, it could be different. And I mean that sincerely with the most sincerity, where like 2 years ago, for sure, if I was talking about July, I could probably give you the sense of how July is going to go. But what I feel like we're going to be talking about today is a little bit about what the energy is that is emerging, that is going to help us to interact better and to be aware in a way that is productive, in a way that is helpful to each of us. So hopefully you'll find that. Hi, Tara. I'm so glad you're on. And I know Tara and Melissa know each other, and Tara and I know each other. We used to work together at Target. So yeah, it's just so fun. It's a small world. Is it not a small world? I just love it. So we'll start here. The first piece that I've been noticing, and it's that emerged as I sat down to really take this all in today, is the fact that what we are experiencing for ourselves is very similar to what is. Hang on, so funny. I just had a software installation. Want to start. Like, what's going on? So I want that what is happening for us individually. So think about your life right now. Think about what's happening for you and where you are at in your life. Are you feeling confused? Are you feeling like things are emerging, or you're on this edge of newness, like something new is coming, or are you really self-aware? What is happening on the micro, right, within us is also parallel. It's running exactly what's happening in our immediate relationships, in our work, in how we are working with each other, and even more so in the larger community, in the larger world scale. So we are starting to notice this almost in a hyper way, whereas we got the concept before, like, yeah, what I do for myself is experienced in the world, and what's happening in the world is experienced for me. I'm going to give you an example of something that happened to me literally an hour and a half ago. I received a voicemail while I was doing the meditation today, and I went to listen to it because it was an out of area voicemail, and it was someone I used to work with a number of years ago, she was a coach, my coach, who I love dearly. She's just an amazing woman. But the work that I was doing was moving me in a different direction, as sometimes happens. Well, it's very interesting. I had been thinking about her, like, in the last 4 days. I was going through some old pictures, and I ran across an image of her, and I was like, "Oh God, yeah, remember all the conversations, the depth that we went to." It was just like this very heartening, very loving experience. I just felt very tender about it. And then today I hear this voicemail, and it says, "Hi," and I know her voice. This is who this is. "I've been thinking about you." And I was like, "Oh my God, really?" Like, it was just so beautiful. And I'm listening for like another 10 seconds, and then I realize it's a recording. And it was this very interesting experience of like, and then, and something in me in that moment just said, "Oh, no, that's not okay. That's not okay. That's not in any way okay." And I sent a note to this person just to let them know that, hearing your voice was so delightful and I had been thinking about you. And then to realize it was a recording felt so inauthentic and so disconnected that I was so sad. I was so sad and disappointed. And that's too bad. It was one of those kind of moments. And as soon as I sent it, and I was very nice, but there was something in me that got called up to share that with her. And what's interesting is in that moment of hitting send, I realized something happened in that transaction. Is that in me declaring that that's not okay, that's not how I want to interact with people, that is not that's not okay for me. It also, it's like I could feel the reverberation of that declaration throughout my life in that moment. And I felt shook. Did I, my first response was, "Oh my God, was that not the right thing to do?" Like my first response was like sucking in all the air of the world, and then it was like, "Oh, what did I just declare for me that is now declaring how I am in the world?" And it felt like that. It felt like I didn't even make a real decision about other than that particular situation that it would have that kind of an impact, but immediately it did. It was like boom, 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 boom. And so it is. And so when I talk about the macro micro, it's no longer like in theory, I get the gist of this. It's almost like immediately we will begin to feel the impact of it. The same way that we are feeling it from the macro to the micro, how the world around us is actually bringing us into greater alignment with truth, with what is beyond my truth. How many of us are claiming in the way we talk? Well, this is my truth. Ask yourself, how many of you have laid claim to that? Well, this is my truth. Well, I'm going to say that what's interesting is that in laying claim to that, what we are doing is we are actually separating ourselves, trying to carve out a piece of the world. And look at what we're complaining about. Look at what the continual complaints are in the ether right now, in the world. You can't trust what these people, they're not talking the whole truth. They're not seeing the whole picture. Nobody is seeing it. And so here we are trying to carve out our truth. And when we're doing that, what we're doing is even if it's a way, it's not meant to be a divisive thing. It's actually meant to be, I think it was designed in some way to be somewhat empowering, to say, well, but this is what is true for me. This is what I know. But instead, the words almost set up a barrier to receiving, to being fluid, to experiencing something that is greater than us. And so that is in part what we're experiencing in the world, this carving out of truth, this carving out even of history. And how that has played a part in our way of really seeing and experiencing our world, each other, the humanity, the true humanity that is available to all of us right here, right now. And we're waking up to this. There's like a part of us that's waking up saying, no, there's more here. I'm willing to drink by a fire hose. I'm willing to take in all this information. I'm willing to do this. So we're being undone on all ends. We're being brought into greater vibrational, I'm going to use a big word, accountability. That as we think, we are experiencing that ripple effect, both inward and outward. What are we allowing in and what are we sending out? We are experiencing that in a much greater way. I'm going to open this up. You guys, if you have questions, post them. Hello, everybody who's joining. You can feel free to post a question about this or point of clarification. So, um, so our day-to-day experiences as we're going through, I think we're going to feel a lot more of that in July. I think with all of the retrogrades, so retrogrades, planetary retrogrades, I'm not going to go into each planet. We all know Mercury. I mean, everybody's keenly aware of that, but we have, I think, 5 planets right now in retrograde, and feel free to correct me on that. But when a planet goes into retrograde, whatever energy that planet oversees. So in the case of Mercury, it's about communication, right? It's about being able to transmit information, and this is where technology comes in, where emails get lost and things like that. That what's happening in a retrograde is we're getting a chance to take a look at it again. It's not which can sometimes mean that there is a desire to relook at a contract, for example, or to take a second look at agreements that have been made. Sometimes it's a time where relationships, there's questions about that. So it's really a beautiful opportunity to take a second look at what we're declaring, at what it is that we are inviting in, and getting another chance to get it more right, more accurate, more into alignment, that we can stand behind it. Does that make sense to everyone? Anyone have questions about that? So July, we have a lot of this energy about taking a second look in our career, taking a second look at truth and how truth is emerging both within ourselves and our relationship to truth, and our relationship to the truth in the world and what is arising there and where we want to be. So we may have been locked and loaded in a position, right? Believing that our way is the right way. And this month we may get information and opportunities to reevaluate that, whether it's through whether it's in the form of people questioning us, perhaps clients or agreements being renegotiated. Um, Maybe it's even in you renegotiating your declarations or commitments because it really doesn't align with how you want to be in the world. So as we're working through this, it's like this, it can feel very sloggy, right? And it can feel very depressive if we can't keep our eye on the bigger prize. If we can't keep our eye on the fact that we are actually, if we use this energy right, if we really align ourselves to it and surrender to it and are willing to use it, what happens is in in my humble opinion, it can be like um like we're moving exponentially. Instead of moving one step forward, we're actually going to leap 5 steps. We can kind of hit that quantum momentum. And part of that is because we are working on all these levels. We're working personally, right? What is happening for me in my world? Then we're seeing how what I'm choosing and declaring is happening outside of me with the people that I work with my environment, with my family, and then it's expanding outward into the world. So we get to go, oh, so if I make a declaration like I did today with this particular person in my life, like saying, this isn't okay with me. And I wasn't really speaking about her. It really wasn't a personal situation. What it was is I don't want that level of inauthenticity in my life. I that's that doesn't resonate for me. Well, that means what that did is it now I could be terrified of it or I could be excited, but it kind of like pulled back the energy, the force to say, okay, Nia, now that you've said that about your relationship with someone else, now how are you going to be in the world? Can you be willing to be authentic? Can you be willing to show up and do something as imperfect as what I'm doing now, right? Can I just show up and do this and be of service and trust that? Can I pull back that energy, which will then, whew, maybe that energy moves forward as a catalyst within the larger um, consciousness, right? That as I lean into this, as I put my energy into this, there's a freeing that isn't just for me. It's not my truth, my decision. It is a decision that is having impact on a greater scale. And I feel like we can use this energy in that way if we're conscious of it, but that means we have to be willing to follow what we're declaring and being aware of it. And it's okay to renegotiate. Like tomorrow I might be like, I don't really want to be that authentic. Right? It's possible. It's possible. Probably not likely, but possible. So can I renegotiate that, or can I say, "Oh, this is what that looks like." Can I shape it? Can I work with it? Right? So we have more power than we allow ourselves to really experience. We have more power, more willingness, more capability. So we've talked about like this macro, micro. How do we really start to see what we're making declarations for, how the world around us is shaping our now moment and how we are shaping the macro. So we are doing both and and being pushed kind of to our edges in that. And so, yeah, discomfort's going to be there. Friction. Michelle, you had said friction, right? And then there was someone else who said, what was that other word? I'm trying to remember. I might not be able to go back. I can't go back. But there was another word that someone had used about like heavy or burdensome. And of course, think about that. If you are having this experience of being in this vibration of uncertainty, of being like stuck, and not really trusting yourself. Well, what's going to happen is you're going to feel that burden because you're being asked to step forward. You're feeling this urgency, this something's got to change. But we have a tendency to resist that change, right? So, Linda, you said present, expanding, becoming more aware of something, changing perceptions, right? So we are, and that's it. It's like, are we able to see through new eyes? Who are we today that we weren't a month ago? Just really think about that. Who are you today that you were not fully aware of a month ago? What have you decided or declared that is changing how you show up in the world? What is new and emerging in your experience that is allowing you to be more fully in alignment with what is resonant for you? So instead of being in this is my truth, which you're creating a nice little box around, well, there's my truth, and I'm just going to stand by that. Where is the room? Where's the room to experience life as it's happening? Where's the room to feel, to be compassionate, to be open, to be malleable, to experience life in new ways if we're so caught up in our truth? Now, I will say this, is that I'm not belittling that action. Oftentimes, the declaration of this is my truth arises from a place of feeling disempowered and finally laying claim, holding to this is my experience, and I am going to speak my truth, speak the truth, speak in this vibration, speak in what I know. I am going to lay claim to it. So I do not dismiss the declaration of that and the energy and the momentum that comes in and behind that. It is absolutely, for many, including myself, a very necessary action. It's like busting through the shell of feeling oppressed, right? It is that time where we lay claim to something that is truly ours. It's usually the birth of our voice. And so this is not to dismiss that. It is just not to rest in it, not to allow that to become the cage in which we feel trapped, not to allow that to become the new oppressor, my truth, that I am unwilling, incapable of being in and of the world, to be open to experience new, and to allow truth to continually awaken and emerge. And that gets to the second piece. So first we were talking about this systematic awakening that's happening. So as we're awakening personally, we are awakening to what we are helping the awakening of the whole. And as we are awakened to what is the truth and the experience and the reality that we have not yet experienced of the whole of humanity, we are also awakened. So it's both and. We're being just cracked open. Then we get to what is this new sight, this new uh, awareness. And earlier today during the meditation, I was talking about, it's kind of like, you have your glasses and then you realize the glasses you can't read, it's the wrong prescription, right? So you put those down and then you pick up a new pair of glasses and you put those on and you go, oh, I can read, not realizing that the glasses, you're dependent on the glasses to read, to feel, to experience, to know truth, right? It becomes, and by no means I'm saying that people don't need glasses. So this is just a metaphor, right? We're going to go with a metaphor. But the challenge is that we become dependent on something outside of us. We become dependent on this to be the way that we know. And what we're being given is the opportunity to really awaken our own inner wisdom, our own inner sight, our own connection to ourself, to that vibration of power, that vibration of truth that resides within, that we can go here and go, okay, in spite of the noise that's happening around here, in spite of what is getting my attention, this is what I know to be true. And this is how I wish to show up. This is how I want to be in the world. And so suddenly you're not switching glasses all the time going, oh, I don't know why I can't read this today, switching to a new pair of glasses. And then the next day going, I don't know why this is changing. The idea is that we're supposed to be reading what's ever in front of us to begin with, instead of paying attention to what's happening. So our focus becomes not in new sight through our eyes, but new sight from our inner wisdom, our inner knowing that is emerging. And we can access that more and more and more through meditation, through daily practice, to which many of you may be like, I just don't like that. But I would really strongly encourage you to start this month. It would be worthwhile. Beverly, you said to be able to know one's truth gives an able to speak one's truth as one's experience. Expressing one's experience gives those to hear without feeling that they have to accept that they may not be of, hang on, I'm going to get this, may be of their truth. So let me read this again. To be able to know one's truth gives, I don't know, and able to speak, gives you the ability to speak, I think, one's truth as one's experience. Yes. But here's what, let's take that if we can, right? So is your experience the truth? Is your experience truth, or is it the experience of what you experience truth to be, right? So is truth something that is collective, is something that is shared, or is truth your experience? I don't necessarily have the full answer on that, but what I feel is that it's somewhere kind of in between. But when we lay claim to our truth and we're relying on our experience, let's just go there, right? Then we become bound to our experience. right? Our experience becomes a thing. And then it's no longer an experience, it's a law, or it's our way of being, or it's our motto, or it's our expectation, right? So the experience stops being fluid. It stops being this ongoing knowing, and it becomes a solid, right? We grab it and we go, this is my truth. And it becomes matter. And then it matters to us, right? So I love the fact that that word, it's solid, and it also describes our way of engaging. So when something matters, when something is matter, it does matter to us. It takes up space in our heart. It takes up space in our mind. And then we stand by, and then we have to prove it constantly. We are standing behind what matters to us. But if we let go the need for all of our experience to need to be truth, to be the truth, that our experience is the truth, and instead say, in my experience, I feel what is true. I feel truth. So one of the ways I'll say that is as a channel. So I channel, and there are things that come through me that are beyond my knowing. Like, I do not have experience to back it up. And yet in my body, in the vibration of me, I feel the truth of it. And so I go back to it, I'm like, oh yeah. And it's like it's like I'm swallowed up in the experience of it without having any solid facts to back it up. And so this is sort of this now time, is that we're getting beyond that which is solid, that which is firm, and that which needs to be upheld and managed and controlled, because we start to see that in doing so, it doesn't really leave room for expansion, or for us to go, ooh, that just shifted for me. And so instead, can we feel the truth? Can that be part of our experience, and let the truth be this fluid piece? And how does that shape our experience in the world? How does that shape our ability to grow and to learn and to move beyond the stories? Trust me, even as I'm saying this, like the words are flowing out of me and I'm going, really? Does that even make sense? I don't know, right? So I have these moments where it's coming through, and I'm experiencing it right now as I'm talking about it, and also feeling the Nea-ness in this, going, oh my gosh, I feel the truth in it, but how do you do this? How do you make this happen? And here's what I know. Here's what I know is that the more that we allow ourselves to be present to our experience, to what is emerging for us, the more that we can be flexible, the more that we can be permeable to information, and trusting that that which is true and good and resonant, not good as a judgment, good as in vibrating with what is good for life, for humanity, that it rises up in our consciousness and we see it like gifts being given to us. Does that make sense? Beverly, does that make sense? You can let me know. It's that when we get to that solid thing, we, as our human habit is to make it so, to stand by it, to shake it, to shake it in people's face, going, this is my truth, this is what's right. And what we're finding right now is that, I mean, how many of you, just think about this, how many of you in the last 30 to 40 days have learned some new bit of information that has kind of made you look at life entirely differently? How many of you have had that experience? You can use your thumbs up, you can use your hearts to express that. But think, so people see, How many of you have had that experience where you got something that kind of like, I had no idea that that was happening, or that that was the way things went down, or that that structure creates this? How many of you have had that moment, whether it's political or even in your own life, even around banking or even around your business, right? Yeah. And what that is going to be kind of the entire theme of July. So if you do not have some flexibility, you're going to be pissed off all the time. You're going to be like, I don't know who to fight now. I don't know what to do. So what is going to happen is that you have this opportunity this month to be in this place of reflection, to feel the discomfort of having to learn and kind of question yourself, question what has got you to this point, question who you're working with, question who you're working for, question the ethics, question the structures. And it doesn't mean you have to just quit, right? Like, wouldn't that be nice? But then where does that get anybody, right? We could either just like do that, or be in this place of, well, now who do I want to be? Who do I want to be, and how do I want to be in this world? How do I want to move forward? And the final piece that we're coming into is really actively engaging in abundance. Yeah, pretty awesome, right? But it's like, when you think of abundance, you guys are going to have to type fast. What do you think of? When I say, ooh, this month we are going to be actively engaging in the vibration of abundance, what comes to mind? Write it, put it in the comments. I want to know. I'm going to pause until you do it. I've been having lots of this and growing. Oh, I love that, Linda. So what is it that you think of? What comes to mind when I say actively engaging in abundance? Beverly. Okay. Oh, so we're getting back to this. Yeah, but no, understanding the feeling. Are we not to accept our growing in experiences and knowledge to be who we are, to have the ability to expand in learning and sharing? Absolutely. Yes, you are. Absolutely. So when you think about, Beverly, that when you're opening, it's just not needing it to be solid, needing it to be a thing. Like, this is my experience. This is the way it is. You can say, this is what I'm experiencing today. This experience is moving me. It's guiding me. I'm feeling it awakening within me. And I'm going to trust that. I'm going to trust the truth that arises in me as I'm making these decisions. Like when someone asks you, do you want to go here? And something in you just goes, "Eh," that you honor that, that you pay attention to that and say, you know what? I'm not feeling it today. Trusting that. So some of the things that we're talking about with abundance: gratitude, abundance in the breath. And sometimes we just really, really like to focus on money and stuff, right? Flowing in everything. Hi, Blythe. We are asking for a need. Exactly. And so what we're doing is I love this. I love that we're so expanded beyond this. Clearly, I've talked about this many times. So good. Tara, mindful acceptance of my own new awareness. Stop, validate, and trust. Oh, write that down. That's good. I love that. Money, peace, comfortable, grateful. So wonderful. So this is what we are moving into. So exactly. And let's even move. I want to take the word grateful, which I love, and I want you to move it this month into the word appreciate. I appreciate all the good that is coming in, because grateful it's good, but there is a little bit of a I didn't expect it, or I'm not sure that it's all coming to me. So uh, to be in the vibration of and resonance of appreciation, it embodies gratefulness, but it is an amplifier versus just recognition. So to be in the vibration of I appreciate all the good that is flowing into my life. I appreciate the people that are speaking beautifully to me. I appreciate all the learning. I appreciate what I'm being guided to do. To be in that vibration of appreciation is going to be in that energy of amplification, and it will bring not just more to you, it will bring more in refinement to you, which is so, so important. And so one of the things that we're doing is we're acclimating to this abundance. Money is great. I'm not opposed to money at all. But we start to see the more that we are doing this work, the more that we're coming into this, we start to realize that there is a sort of a structure within the way that we acclimate to abundance outside of ourselves, projecting outward from ourselves, whether it's in status or whether it is in things. Doesn't mean don't get the things that you need, but to be aware of the vibration in it, to be aware of what it is and why it is that you're doing this, and coming back to what is it that is resonant with who I am, because money is in and of itself a man-made construct. It is not a natural construct, and it is a in and of itself a type of a prison, and it holds a vibration of limitation. So it doesn't mean don't um, don't engage in transactions. It just means be aware that this is not the only energy of abundance coming into you. So we are freeing ourselves, yes, Jennifer, freeing ourselves from limitations, freeing ourselves in many respects from the structures that are being presented, again, in the micro and the macro, seeing these both. So this month, it's going to be amplified. It's going to be amplified. Honey, I'm feeling abundance and gratitude for the spiritual expansion I've been feeling lately, but my physical existence is not changing as fast to match where I want to be. Causes some chaos, but I love the new enlightened stages. Wonderful. So what I would say, and I would guess how I just want people to, if you're willing, how many of you have noticed some changes in your physical body? Like that you feel a lot of people for the last, and it's not just the COVID, 15 or whatever that people are talking about, but they've noticed like a heaviness around their middle. I know I have, and that's been almost a year now that there's no reason I shouldn't be able to drop the baby weight, but for whatever reason, it just kind of hangs out there. That part of this is really, really, really getting beyond the war with our body, right? This war that we have with our physical self, and coming into this love and focusing on the operation and what we need to do to nourish and nurture our body. And nourishing and nurturing is as much energetic and thought filled as it is what we're feeding it. So think about, the physical body. What is it that your body is craving? Maybe several people I've talked with, more than several, have said in the last 3 months no reason for it. They're not staying up late, but they are sleeping. They are needing more sleep. They are needing more deep, profound rest. And part of it is that we're working harder, both mentally, but also energetically. It takes a lot of energy to be present. It takes a lot of energy to be in that level of engagement. And so my question to you is this something that you're noticing? So Aurora, I love it. Abundance to me is opening up to an unlimited possibilities for good experiences. Exactly. That there and knowing that the experiences that are coming to you are always in that energy of good. Even in our growth, it's coming. And sometimes we don't see the good in it in the moment, but what is presenting itself is that engagement of what is good, not just for you mentally or good for your environment or good for your body. It's good within the whole. And so what is stretching you, which cannot feel good sometimes, right? We can feel really uncomfortable, that is also good. That is also good. So any questions? So you've been getting less sleep and doing much better with less sleep than with more. And see, everyone's different, but there has been some adjustments in the body. So paying attention and honoring that. And I think what a good thing, Aurora, because some people will say, nope, I always sleep 8 hours. I'm just going to sleep that long. And if you are sleeping 6 hours or 6.5 hours and feeling good, wake up and use that time differently. So honoring the body, honoring what is there. I really want to tell you how excited I am with what I'm hearing from everyone here about what abundance is and what that feels like. So I'm going to open it up to questions. We've got a little while. I've got at least 10 minutes. If you have questions, if you have things that are popping up for you, themes, dreams, yeah, lots of dreams. I will tell you, I have not been dreaming that much, but people around me are a lot. What I will say is pay attention if you have a group of people that you are connecting with regularly, um, that you are talking and being open and having these conversations with. Um, Start to check in with them to see what have a conversation about how you are all experiencing this. What I keep finding, it's almost like with I have a couple of groups of women that I meet with, and we are all it's like we're all experiencing different things, but they're all parts of the same thing. Does that make sense? So being able to hear from their perspective, to hear how they're experiencing it. First of all, it helps me practice being open, being permeable, receiving information. So I'm practicing, right? I'm practicing stretching. I'm practicing seeing things in new ways. I'm practicing abundance and trusting that I'm going to get what I need. And it's helping me get pictures of things that and experiences that my own vessel cannot conjure up because it wasn't presented in that way. And so if you have people that you're talking with, it'd be good for you to have these conversations this month too, as you're like perhaps Aurora, you are sleeping less and you're dreaming more, and maybe someone else is sleeping so soundly and feeling, needing to really take care of their physical vessel. Maybe someone else is now receiving new intuitive gifts, somebody else. And as you're talking about this, you start to realize that that it's all shaped together, that you're in concert with one another learning things, as we all are. We are all opening in a whole new way. Any questions or thoughts? I just want to invite you guys to post some questions or post things you want to talk about, things that are emerging for you, or questions that you have about what's going on with the energy right now in and around the planet, in and around where you live, in and around your family. I'm glad to help in any way that I can. I think it's so important that we're in that level of engagement, that we're willing to ask, willing to question, and not necessarily take information that has to be taken as right. This is a time of deep personal awareness and reflection. And as a result, it also becomes deep and profound awareness of the world, of humanity, and reflection on who we want to be in that. So, in order for us to get closer to what it is we're longing for. So, Aurora, you've been getting 4 to 6 hours of sleep. I think that's great. That's wonderful. Amazing with a little one. I will just say that. That's awesome. So, I'll wait just another couple minutes to see if anyone has any questions. Otherwise, we will wrap it up for the day. But hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully it's helping to put some constructs around how to go about July, some things to put in. Oh yeah, Jennifer, feeling pulled way beyond your comfort zone. And here's what I will say, Jennifer. Can can I pick on you a little bit? I hope so. My guess is, if you think about it, it's not so much your comfort zone, it's just the belief in yourself, right? I think when we talk about comfort zone, like, for example, I know you're channeling and I know you're doing some amazing things, right? In that regard, I'll just speak in that regard because I don't know everything that you're going through, but you're doing light language and you're channeling and you're speaking out more in this way. My guess is when you're doing that, you're feeling very comfortable. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't do it. But what it is it's about making it public. And that level of comfort in that arena may never go away, right? We may never get comfortable in that. We might, but the vast majority of people that I know that are performers or that are speakers, that are working with people in a very public way, get very nauseated, get very uneasy. It is so important to be able to go, is this really what it's about? Or am I so clear in what I'm here to do? Or am I so clear that this is something I want to put my energy to, that I'm doing it anyway and letting my skills develop, letting who I am develop, and letting myself trust. Does that make sense? Because sometimes our language, and I can be such a jerk sometimes when I talk about this, but I'm not really a jerk, but it sounds kind of like it. But our language, we're lazy. In our language, we kind of put this whole phrasing around our experience instead of being specific. Like, I'm overwhelmed. What does that mean? Or I can't possibly, like, I don't know. That's another one. That's one that it's like, what do you know though? It's coming into that, and it's giving yourself that ability to be specific. And what I know is that, Jennifer, you love what you do. Otherwise you wouldn't do it. Who the hell would do it? Right? So here you are stepping into it, and the getting to do it is making you uneasy because it's not a comfortable situation. But it doesn't mean that the gift is less or that it's not worthy of sharing. It means that it's so worthy of sharing that you are willing to step into that. Does that make sense? And so, Tara, you said, love to hear this. Great ideas for me to start my July journey. I love it. I want to hear all about it. Hi, Fred. You'll have to let me know what you're confused about, which is okay. Confusion is fine. Lots of confusion right now in a lot of ways. Honey, just a comment. I looked back in my calendar and found that on 1/10/2020, I attended your workshop, 2020 Bring It On. It brought it on. So happy you are here to help get through it. That's right. Like, doesn't that seem like a year ago? And we just did that. And that was I remember teaching it and thinking, why am I having a hard time, like, talking about, remember we were even trying to talk about the calendars, and the calendars were like not really forming around this. And then you just I was laughing about, because the when the calendars don't show up and you're talking about the year ahead, honey, I just love this, that we had no way of knowing what this was going to be, and calendars really aren't helping us all that much, right? So and having these long-term plans, we really need, everything's being brought to a head, but we are having to be iterative. We're having to respond in an iterative way, or for those of my my corporate friends, in an agile way. And agile is a beautiful way to think about, we're doing things as we learn, and as we have to adjust, we have to be flexible, versus having a full plan and then being frustrated when the plan doesn't go the way it's supposed to. We have a new way of being.